For the Oh, you love the recordings. Awesome. I'm so glad, Lisa. Thank you so much for that. So everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. We encourage faces. Hi, Lauren. Nice to see you in person. But also, I totally understand. Would rather you're here than not. So if you need to be incognito mode, we get it. We've been there, done that too. We're just happy to have community. And again, although I might be the one kind of inviting you and oh, hi Lisa to these things, please don't hesitate to chat, unmute yourselves and ask Rachel or myself, whoever the group, because we all have wisdom to share, right? Questions. Because again, we're all in this together, and every time I talk to someone about Library of Things, I learn something new. Every time. No, without fail. Um, Rachel, though, I was really lucky to get to talk to a little earlier than I talked to some of you. We met online. Um, we met at a great series which we've linked to from that ugly website I made, which is the Shareable series about tool lending libraries. So both Rachel and I were like slightly active on the tool library listserv, the International Tool Library listserv, and then slightly in the interactions. And we both identified pretty quick that, oh, you're a more traditional librarian, but yet you know your stuff when it comes to tools. So it was really exciting for me to get to know Rachel better and learn so much from her, which is why it's an extra delight today to kind of hear from her again and see where she's gone with some of these things, which I am so copying. So yeah, that is the plan. Rachel is also super duper awesome because she like preps for things and does things in a different way than I do, which is great. So like props to you, Chica. And she has a presentation. All right. So girl, take it away. I'm excited. Thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, no problem. There's nothing more than I enjoy than community around tools. So same way with Hazel, I have a background in teaching tools before I became library staff. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my PowerPoint and feel free to interrupt me with questions. I really pulled most of these slides from a presentation that I had with Hazel, so she's going to recognize a few of these slides. And here we go. Let's see. Just let me know if you can see. Okay.
So I see, yes, now I see it. Perfect. I might just be slow up here in Maine, who knows? But I
And I'm
got
going to
it
try
now.
to pull
And
up
you
the
put
chat.
yourself in it, which is very impressive. Always learn something new. So
Oh, I just saw that as an
bravo.
option. I thought, ooh, that's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Let's
Oh
do
no,
that. I'm
you
going to
just
pull the
leveled
chat
up.
up too. Okay. Go. So throw questions you have in the chat. So, yes, Hazel, thank you for that beautiful introduction. My name is Rachel Tanner. I work at the Central Arkansas Library System here in Little Rock, Arkansas. We are a large branch system. We are the largest in Arkansas. Let me see if it's gonna. Here we go. It's the largest branch system in Arkansas. We serve everyone in the Pulaski County area, which Little Rock is in, but as well as a smaller county that opted to join us in the 90s, Perry County. Here's a little illustrated map of our area. So I'm there, if you can see, at number 3, right above the tools. Our system wide has over 1 million circulating items and the largest research collection in Arkansas. So we operate the historic collections all over what is that called? Sorry, one of my coworkers walked up to the window and looked at me. So if I get distracted, it's because I'm in a glass room in the back of the library in one of our larger study rooms. But what makes us different than a lot of library systems across the country is that in the 70s, CALS opted to become a nonprofit that was publicly funded with public money. and not governed by the county itself. So it does give us a lot of liberty with what we do in our system, and probably helped with the idea that maybe we could start lending things that were non-traditional items. So in our system wide, our library of things isn't just tools, which is what I do, but they have them specialized at branches. So the tool library was formed, the idea was formed in 2015-16, and I wasn't even hired till the end of 2017. So that tells you how long this idea was spreading. And then as the tool library was formed, the seed library followed up, and then the toy lending library also followed up. And we also lend normal things, sort of like cake pans. That's in one of that's far out county library. They lend cake pans, and we have a library that lends puzzles, but it's probably not as advertised. All this started with the traditional like telescopes and fishing poles that we had. But the tool library is located and available to all of our patrons in our service area here at the D Brown branch in Southwest Little Rock. It was formed as a part of a bond issued remodel for this branch. So I believe this was all before I started. The manager who was part of that remodel saw the growing trend of libraries of things nationwide and sort of wanted to meet a need in the area. So that initial, oh, yes, that cage, the picture speaks of that. So that cage was put up by me with the idea that our collection would be browsable and available to the public, but it needed to be sectioned off in that space. So it was supposed to be a browsable collection, but now it currently operates as a closed collection because of the space post-COVID. But we were trying to maximize like light, so we opted for the chain link fence, but we also use that fence to organize. So this is just a brief picture of how it didn't even look like that. The room was full of cardboard boxes, and it was clearly used as the before trash area. So when I was hired in 2017 to even like conceptualize what a tool library was for our space, there was only one other operating tool library in Arkansas at the time and has since closed. So we didn't like when they were trying to come up with how the tool library, what they should collect and how it should run, they were modeling it off of systems nationwide, but it just wasn't as readily available as it is now. So that was almost 8 years ago, so long. For me coming in, being hired as the tool librarian, I was thinking very straightforward. I want basic tools in very specific categories that were very, this is a tool, and this is for remodeling. So we'll look at the collection, but electrical tools, plumbing tools, wood shop tools, that's what I was thinking. We also decided early on that there's inherent danger to tools, so we only want to make it available for adult patrons. They do something similar for, I think, the telescopes, but I do think the fishing poles are available to young people. It's just something our system has never been comfortable doing. Our collection also is really greatly informed by the tools we cannot circulate. So coming from a background of sculpture and stuff and being used to handling like miter saws and table saws, I put those on the list and they were quickly taken off by our insurance writer, which is fine. It is hard to teach someone not to, there's inherent things to do in the workspace that just like anybody can make that mistake, including teachers and professionals. So that's fine. But in growing that tool library, only having hammers, drills, things like that, we have since, in the 7 years we've operated, expanded what idea a tool library is. So we've started adding categories like camping supplies, a few kitchen items, but I'm really greatly inspired by Hazel's kitchen items. If I had a bigger space, it would have so many more things. We are limited a bit by our space, so we don't circulate gas-powered tools, and we haven't opted into pneumatic tools just because of storage reasons. It'd be difficult to check out a compression tank with the tools and teaching them. Um, and back in 2002, 2003, after spending all of our initial funds and only purchasing what we could get grant money with, the board, our CALS library board passed a budget line for tools. So it was quite a large expansion of the budget line, but we were able to prove like this is what people interests. They've done surveys, people are really interested in it, and they support the tool library, so it was just easy for them to say yes. Um, let's see, as you can see in this slide, these are all the categories we have for our web page. And as we all know, it's just an organizational tool for us. And it was sort of initially built that way so that if someone wanted to do remodel, we would have all the basic tools in that. But as I said, in growing the tool library in these past couple of years, I realized like anything can be checked out and can be considered a tool. I'm trying to stay in my lane, like what is a tool and what does the tool library offer versus like the toy library or our other branches, but we're really the only ones circulating mass quantity stuff. The toy library has got its own special quirks. I have learned more about how that collection was started and why it can't be added to other libraries. That was a new thing. But this is a screenshot from our old web page. It looks a little different now, but you can see that like patron can browse in those sections, kind of get a gist for what we have. Here we go. These are data taken from our collections and our checkouts. This was taken in October 2024, so it may have changed since then. We have probably added about 60 new tools since then. So as you can see, the collection became available in 2018, and it was such a new concept for our area that growing the collection, like checkouts, is really slow going. But as you can see, like 2020, even though the collection was shut down for a long time in 2020, we didn't make it available in the same time we made books available, because I wasn't sure how to clean them and sanitize them back when we were washing all of our groceries and things like that. But post 2020, you see that huge peak, like people were interested. I don't know why it took a dip. It could have just been some of our regular patrons slowing down because I used to have, at some points, I've had an close to empty tool library, but it really depends on how we're pitching it system wide. But you can see that there's a growing interest. And I would point out the toys, 2019 is when it started, right? 502 checkouts. It's probably dwindled down because the toy library was funded by a person who like creates playrooms nationwide, but she's from Jacksonville, Arkansas, where the toy library's thing. She made the library sign something where only she can donate toys. So the library itself can't collect new toys or something weird. So I think it's probably checked out less over time because they've lost some of their collections. So they rely heavily on this donation. So, like, if I wanted to start adding toys to my tool library, I don't think I'm allowed to, or something like that. It's very strange that they got into this. But this person is always adding new toys. I just don't know if that initial purchase is the thing. So you can just see it kind of fluctuates on how interested people come to the library. Our number one circulating tool would surprise me. Of course, these are October 2024, so you're going to get an increase in garden tools very soon. I can already see it. The weather's warmed up here and our soil's probably good to go. I don't think we'll have another cold spell. So we're like, it's go time. Lawnmowers, trimmers, all that is going to start flying out the door. But just even a basic socket set gets checked out a lot at our branch. And I can't tell you why because I'm not sure I've seen it go out, but it does. It gets checked out all the time. Quiet people, checking out cordless drills just because they don't have one at the moment. It kind of just tells you who's using it in the tool library. I try to make myself known amongst like our regular patrons, so I usually have a conversation, kind of know what they're going for. But there's just quiet people just checking in tools in and out. So you can see real basic tools getting checked out, safety glasses, cordless drills, and a few specialty tools, that digital calipers. That's really it. Some basic tools, so easy to start a tool library. So during this building up, a lot of our tools started to be influenced by the programs we were operating, but it all started with the introduction of this outdoor bicycle stand. Before even the tool collection was open, I had discretion on what we spent our funds on. And after working here for a year before we opened the tool library, I noticed a lot of kids in the community riding flat tired bikes. So I was like, hey, let's like bring something that's in parks in the downtown area where my kids in my neighborhood aren't going, and bring that to the library. So there was a group, the Recycle Bikes for Kids, who give free bikes to anybody 16 and under. They also have a fund, a memorial fund, the Maryland Fulper Fund. So they co-funded this outdoor bicycle stand with us, and boy, it gets a lot of use. I would highly recommend it if you have a community of kids cycling, because it's useful for adults and kids, and it's a good teaching opportunity. It's available 24 hours. So I've only had to replace a few tools on it, but I do have it under an awning, so it does prevent it from getting water damage. I would recommend that if you can. Oh yeah, and the most dangerous, a survey was taken last year in collaboration with America Walks in our metro area planning, and they discovered there are so many incidents on the road that our library was built on. It became the most dangerous road in Arkansas, and I've seen it happen myself. We have sidewalks that go from a standard rating to having a pole in the middle of it, so not even a stroller can go past it. It's most ridiculous. And it's an old 50s road. It probably was on the outskirts of town a long time ago, but the city's built up around it. And there's too many entrances to every like building on this road. So being a pedestrian, you take your life in your own hands. But I'm a certified American cyclist teacher, so it's kind of like one of my new activations is to teach people how to ride safely on the bikes. And as you can see, we have another staff member who used to be a bicycle mechanic, so he makes full use and informs me for the tool library that we keep a small collection of tires and stuff available for patrons. In fact, we walked out the door last night and fixed someone's tire. Let's see. Oh, here we go. My PowerPoint's not moving. Okay. Early on, also, as you can see, a COVID picture 2020. Before we got our budget passed by the board, we were still working off that grant money, or we were working off our bond money and then seeking out grants. So another coworker wrote a grant to build this community garden kit. So the idea is it's a complete kit to help a community build garden beds. So we took it out to Wrightsville, Arkansas, one of our small auxiliary branches, and helped the Garden Corps members of 2020 build garden beds for their community. And boy, I'm standing in this picture in the bottom, maskless, because I think we had just done a bunch of I was trying to teach them how to use the tools, but also keep my distance from them. It's just a good time all around. And this gets checked out by regular patrons, but we do like to inform any of our community groups, neighborhood cleanups, bring it to neighborhood cleanup association meetings, things like that. Sometimes I end up delivering it just to make sure it's there, but I do have a couple of patrons who just checked it out and they did something with it, so I'm trying to make it useful. Along with the tool library, I do a lot of programming with the tool library, so just sharing our resources. It's been an exciting run with the Central Arkansas Repair Cafe that we operate with the tool library. So we try to have it independent, but my library system is very supportive of it. And I'm able to use some of my tool library budget to support this repair cafe. We became the third most active repair cafe in the nation. I just assume nobody wants to do their paperwork, but we do it. And so somehow we got topped up at the top. So it's been a fun run of able to make some cool connections with that. And find some support nationwide for our repair cafe. But it's a good chance for me to showcase the tools and give space to the tool collection, like the ability to teach the tools. So we'll have that sewing machine circulating, so we'll use the tool library sewing machine. So if someone wanted to try it before they check it out and take it home, they can learn stuff from us, the tool experts at the Repair Cafe. But if you don't have one operating, with your tool library, I would look into it. It doesn't have to be Repair Cafe. It could just be repair events. They're all over the country and they're awesome. And they're just good community building. Bring that knowledge back. Oh yeah, I repair so many of our tool library tools at the Repair Cafe. In fact, I'm a little envious of my repair volunteers because sometimes I'm like, well, I kind of wanted to learn to repair that, but these guys are so good at it that if they're sitting around and they need something to do, I'll pull them out and we'll talk about it. So yeah, if you run a library of things and don't have some sort of repair event, I would look into it because I've been able to save some of my own time, and that's programming time, that's other things, just by bringing some of my broken tools. And a lot of it's just sharpening. So we keep our shovels sharpened, our axes sharpened, all of that, grinding it right there. And we meet once a month. I think we meet 10 months out of the year. We don't meet in November and December. So I get a little pile of tools to tune up for that. Yeah, the axe is the idea is I actually has gotten checked out a few times. Just making it available, I guess it's just a good introductory tool. We want to save people money and also let them try things before they spend their money on it. Last year, in recognition with the Repair Cafe and the programming I'm doing here, we got recognized by the city as a sustainable partner, and we're voted best nonprofit of that year. And they named me, but honestly, I was like, oh, it's really my repair volunteers. So I invited several of them to come with me to share the reward. And it's just nice to be recognized when you're in the library doing something, recognized as for for putting something you're already passionate about out there. So I did threaten them during my acceptance speech that I was like, oh, the city needs to change and we need to prioritize repair over recycling. So you've been warned, I'm coming for you, city. But I digress. The With the update of the library budget being part of the budget line, we also received a large arts grant in our library system, so it's been bringing visual arts to the library. And as someone who has an art background, I was like, how many tools did I want to try back then? So with my part of the grant money, I focused on making specialty tools available and specifically for craft hobbies. So probably this is something Hazel was talking about. I built some craft kits and different things. So we have a rug tufting gun with a rug tufting frame. That would be most really expensive hobby to try. And if you don't like it, like what are you gonna do with it? So this is something for like beginners to try a hobby out. We also are building a polymer clay jewelry kit, but it could also just be a jewelry kit. A The sewing machines are part of this. We hadn't been circulating sewing machines, but after running sewing classes here with the makerspace, I was like, we should get some sewing machines. And I actually was inspired by Library of Things mutual aid to like buy the sewing machine most of you guys recommended. So thank you so much. Because if it was up to me, it'd be an old metal, all metal Singer with a table built in. But I'm gonna try this new Singer industrial one, so we'll try it. But these craft kits have yet to circulate yet. I'm being very particular how they get checked out. So you're gonna have to wait and see how those, but because they have so many parts, like how do we check that out and make sure I don't overwhelm the other staff here? I'm not here all the time to check these tools out, so we'll see. Do I teach all these classes? No, I use the grant money to hire artists to teach classes. I also had them look over my craft kits to make sure I wasn't missing. So I know for sure I would I did a whole year of these. So I did leather crafting, rug tufting, polymer clay, sewing. I didn't get a weaving artist, but I have a tabletop weaving kit. And I had them review the supplies we provided to let me know, like, is there something I'm missing? So the polymer clay person definitely gave me some tips because that was something I did not know. I do not provide the consumables for those kits right now, but I have thought about using some of the grant money to do like a beginner project just so they can get started. So it'd be like bottom barrel, like here's like this much clay and one set of earrings. The rug tufting one I have kind of waffled with Joann's going out of business. I don't know where people are going to buy their fabric. But I thought about providing a little swatch of the rug tufting base, but they would still have to go buy their own yarn or something like that. Leather, yeah, I thought if I just put a small project, I'm still working out the details, but it should be easy enough that I'll give them like where to go buy their supplies so they can try it. We kind of want to build a little manual of like how to get started, and these are our tips. And the last collaboration I've made with like working with outside groups or grants is our Keep Little Rock Beautiful, which is part of the Keep America Beautiful. Wanted to make their trash grabbers more accessible to encourage people to pick up trash in their community. So they reached out to me to build a community cleanup kit. So you can check out 25 trash grabbers and that trash can and the vest all together at once. And then after putting ours in, they actually decided to make some trash grabbers available at every branch. So that's going to be one of our big circulating items. Every branch was able to get 5 individual grabbers so that anybody can check them out. They come with a vest and a little and trash bags actually. Keep Little Rock Beautiful provided the trash bags as well. And it's been a fun opportunity for me to get out there with the city and talk about the tool library and be at some of these fun events on the clock. So, now my newest partnership is Central Arkansas Master Naturalist. We're talking about doing invasive species cleanup. There's lots of specialty tools with those. So yeah, we are, it's cool to use the tool library to get to these groups and help them be more successful. So if you're just hanging out in the library, you can only see so many patrons at once, but when you're out at these events, sharing your resources and making them more accessible to everyone people who don't come to your library or haven't been to a library in a while, you can get the word out more. It's really interesting. Lastly, future initiatives, like I said, working with the Central Arkansas Master Naturalist to build some more invasive species cleanup kits. But I have been inspired by mutual aid. We've been having issues with holds not being picked up and things not coming back in a timely time span. So like lawnmowers having 15 holds and every other hold not being picked up, so it just sits there while other people to use it. So we're bringing back an old model we had that we had gotten rid of for books called Hot Picks. And it's first come, first serve. So that was inspired by mutual aid. So I appreciate you guys sharing how you guys are doing it because it's inspired me. So this spring, let me take a sip of water. I just
Health and safety first. Health and safety first, Rachel. All
I'm
right.
allergic to books is what I say all the time. Um, So making those just whoever comes in and asks for it first and limiting how long they're checked out. So like traditionally our tools are checked out for 7-day increments, but with hot picks it might be 3 days. So try to get through some of these long queues because we can't just own 14 lawnmowers. We don't know where to put those. I mean, we probably could use 14 lawnmowers, but we wouldn't know where to put those. So trying this model out. I'm also working on putting a bike repair station at another branch. Their branch is along a connecting bike route that actually was implemented by a staff member 6 years ago. They planned this out, and it's finally being built by the city. And it will connect the south side of town with the north side of town safely, and the library branch is just right there, so it will be perfect. I'm also working with Repair Cafe to do a special event specifically for phones and tablets and computers because that's something we haven't quite been able to repair at Repair Cafe events, but people are interested in it because we just don't know what supplies to have. We can't fix someone's screen if they don't bring it in and if they don't know how to shop for it. It's one of those things. So we're talking about making a special event with a big iFixit reached out to us and asked, how can we support you? So we're working with iFixit to get those supplies here at a lower cost and possibly free. depending on how I work that with iFixit. And then being able to return everything we don't use at no cost for the repair event, and keeping it free for library patrons. We always try to look into, how can we utilize our resources better. And I could probably have a whole workshop of, or a whole warehouse of tools and tool classes, but how can we integrate more workshops with the tool collection, so that people, can see use for it. And then that picture on the left is just from one of these cleanups I got to do with the trash grabbing kit. Some fun stuff, but let me see. Any questions I haven't answered?
You have a couple. So Lisa just, well, first off, Rachel, awesome as always. I have plenty of questions. So if no one else pops up, don't worry, I'll quiz her for you all, i.e. me. But Lisa already put one in chat, but I think it went to me by accident, which was, do you have to guesstimate how many people use the bike repair, or do you have a system in place for tracking that?
There's no system in place. I guess it's anecdotal, but
Yeah.
we do let people know we have supplies and more tools in the tool library. So the more people who ask for that resource, the more we know it's being used. I can just tell by the pile of trash around it whether it's getting used in the middle of the night. And like I said, we've had a few tools stolen off of it, so we know it's getting used in that way too.
Yeah.
I guess we have some regular patrons, and it's by the staff entry, so I'm in and out of that door a lot. It's right off the tool library, so I get to talk to people out there all the time. But I did ask our security guard once, like, do you see a lot of people out there using it? Because there's a camera right there. And he says, yeah, it's used all the time. So it is more anecdotal than a proper system. But you can just tell by the wear and tear. And like I said, it's by the staff entrance, so I see if it's been used. Tools are hanging different or missing or something like that. There's trash around it. So
Yeah, mess in a way. I feel like there's a lot of
yeah.
stories like that that we hear. Certainly when you have things that are available to the public, you're like, how does it look messier than I just went in 10 minutes ago? Well, because it's been used in that time, which is like great and also could be a little frustrating depending upon what your goals were for the day. So,
After running this tool library collection, I am a friend to cleaning.
yeah.
And I am inspired by some of the other libraries of things, how they deal with dirty tools being returned. And I have brought that point up because I do spend a lot of time cleaning it in.
Yeah.
We're talking about it. I like your idea about keeping that build until they come back and either clean it themselves or whatever.
It seems to work for us thus far, but knock on wood, right? I mean,
Right.
there's always something. I really like the idea you brought up of, because I think most tool libraries do, or normal libraries struggle with, oh, they borrowed this thing and then they didn't use it for this amount of time. And even if they keep it for a week and then have a week hold on it, that's still 2 weeks. A really popular tool could be out of the system. So having that, the quick picks or the highlighted tools where you just whoever's first grabs it, I think that's a brilliant way.
And it won't
Um,
be too many things.
yeah,
We're gonna try it with like 5 or 6 tools, and see how that goes.
yeah,
It might blow up in our face, but I'm adaptable. That's what I've learned. Like since no one else is doing this, it's easy to
yeah.
make up the rules as you go and change. Change is fun.
Well, that was going to be my follow-up question. Is it you and you alone who is making this all happen, plus doing desk time and everything else?
Yeah, there's a lot of staff. We've talked about the staff siloing at our branch.
Yeah,
A lot of the people whose initial idea was to start a library at our system have since gone.
yeah,
So I end up just being the authority on it. But I have my own manager, so if I'm worried about something, I mean, for the hot picks, like that's
yeah,
got to go through some decision makers. So
yeah.
since I know it's been done before, it just happened to be books. I was like, this is probably doable and would probably solve a few issues we're having with tools being popular but not getting checked out. So,
So you already went over one of the common questions we have from humans, which is like what goes out the most. But I think the other thing is what do you have? Another question that gets asked a bunch is what do you have in the tool library that you wish you didn't have in the
oh,
tool library?
I have accepted tool library donations,
Yeah.
and like there's just some things that are so niche that it's like, "Oh, I kind of wish I hadn't accepted those
Yeah.
donations." One of my worst, not worst, one of my poor decisions was to buy a paint sprayer without
Oh, you went
doing,
there.
I
I
did,
wanted to.
but the thing is, should have read the instructions before I
Ah.
bought it. I'm really good about reading them, but I
No.
had bought this before. I now read the instructions before I buy the tool. All this was all lesson learned early on.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, this thing has to be cleaned and has to have a special proprietary chemical put in it 48 hours before. I was like, nope, nobody's gonna. They return dirty shovels, so nobody's gonna clean this thing and put this liquid in there. Also, it wastes a lot of paint, so I think the same
Hmm.
people who would check out a paint sprayer might be mad that they just wasted a half a gallon or a gallon of paint just to prime it.
Wow.
But I get requests for paint sprayers all the time,
Yeah.
and it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it's just really hard to check those out. But if anybody has a paint sprayer recommendation that has worked, I mean, I know there's simpler ones, like some you just attach.
We just got one. I'll let you know how it goes. But we put on it you could only use lime based paint
Hmm.
or chalk paint or milk paint in it. So it's purposely for those
Ooh,
three. So
okay.
it avoids a lot of the latex problems and things. So basically all the toxic paints, which is the vast majority of paints. So we'll see how it goes. I'll report back to the team and let y'all know. But that was kind of our workaround, but it was a much less, it's like $50 because of that. But it
Yeah.
purposely was to work with those three types of paint.
I think hopefully technology will advance. I mean, I bought this was 2018. I bought this paint sprayer, and I always go through the paint sprayer aisle just to see if there's any update. Like, but I do feel like those little ones, like you're saying, there's lots of tools that never get circulated, but I might use them in the tool library, so that's okay with me. I do
Yeah.
find that like when tools I use regularly in my job get checked out, I'm just like, why didn't I buy two of those? Or tools that I use for I've taught like bird building classes, birdhouse building classes and stuff like that, tools like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
should I get a classroom set? Like,
Yeah.
should I just keep raiding the tool library for my, so like my soldering class,
Mm-hmm.
two of the soldering irons are circulating, the rest are classroom sets, and then I got my classroom tools. But I try to make tools
Oh.
when I'm teaching like tool specific classes like that, make sure they're available and that I have multiple copies.
That is clever. We've run into that problem too. And it is annoying. We've kind of had to teach classes differently because of it at
Yeah.
times, which is can really be a hindrance when people come wanting to do the one thing versus take turns on multiple things.
Yeah.
Um, so team here, I just want to give you a heads up. So Rachel amazingly has taken time out of her day to spend with us and share all this. Rachel, I don't know if you saw the accolades in the chat, but you are getting multiple thank yous and wows. Even with our just a small crew. So team, I know a lot of you are staying incognito, but if you don't want to be incognito and want to ask Rachel a question, you are welcome to unmute yourselves, chat away. It's not, she's friendly, I promise. She's a delight. And she'll tell you how it is. But if not, I will keep asking a couple more questions. If one of you doesn't chime in. One of my questions is because you said you're doing tents now. Do you have
Oh,
any laundry?
camping stuff. No, I haven't done tents yet,
Okay, got it, got it.
but
Because there's like laundry facilities. How does that come into play? But it sounds like you don't need to deal with that then.
I've looked into it though, because I have seen where other groups are doing the tents and
Yeah.
sleeping bags. In fact, I think when they were researching tool libraries in our state, I think there's a college campus locally that does that for their students. Oh, and one of them does bicycles, and that's always been one of my interests is like, how can we check out bicycles? Because there's not a bicycle share in our city yet. We were so close, but
Ah,
supposedly Little Rock is on a river, the Arkansas River, and so right across the bridge that people just walk regularly is a whole nother city, North Little Rock. And
wow.
so we had to get permission with the North Little Rock city government to have this bicycle share, and apparently they lost the paperwork and didn't sign it before the company like went on belly under. So we lost our
Oh
bicycle
no.
share. Yeah, that's fun.
Okay, that no, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Do you work at all then with the tool libraries, or sorry, the other parts of the other libraries of things in your system, like the toy library or the prom dress? You guys have prom dress library? You guys are doing so
Oh,
much.
that's like a special event for one branch.
Got it.
It's just a passion project of one of the programmers. No, I ended up just staying at my own branch. I do normal branch stuff. I have desk and they make me do a lot less book stuff, but I used to like pull
Yeah.
holds and things like that. But a lot of the administrative staff that I worked with starting here have moved
Yeah.
up, and so we refer back to each other on other policies. So currently, our main branch, is closed for a major remodel, and
Wow.
then the manager here, our former manager here, is overseeing that
So you're kind of in your own
system.
little,
Yeah,
you're just making it happen. Which
yeah.
is so awesome because I think when you think about this, like sometimes you think it's this amazing lift, and it is because Rachel's a cut above, folks. But the fact is that if she's making it happen at this, amazing rate, that means like the rest of us can do it too, which
Oh,
I think is
yeah.
always really like empowering to be like, wait a minute. There's that quote of like you just have to have a person who cares a whole awful lot, right? To make it happen. So yeah, that's so on your point to your when I asked you about consumables, I wanted to share one thing that you might be into, or that maybe it was you who gave me the idea.
Uh-oh.
But no, it worked. It worked. I was really skeptical about it, but we started a swap, a consumable swap, because we don't lend any consumables in our art kits or anything. But instead, we just put a baker's rack down stairs and said every Wednesday from this time, it's an art swap. So we seeded it with some old stuff we didn't want, like crayons and things. And people have gone nuts. They've come from all over. They've given away and taken so many things. There's like a run on it every week. We already had that with kind of vegetables and food and art. And so week, this month, now that we've proven the art swap works and the vegetable swap, now we're doing hardware. So stuff you would find around your house, like, those random screws that you got
Yes.
like, or like 5 anchors you got more of. And I talked with a great guy out in Portland, Oregon, as part of the tool library group. I was like, if this works, I'm gonna make some illustrations and open source them and add them to your collection because he's already open sourced these great illustrations of tools. So I was like, eventually we can all just have these swaps together and it will be a little more organized rather than just a junk pile in your library because that's not helping any of us. Um,
That's so smart because we just do giveaways for like
yeah,
those extra supplies that you end up having after a class.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm always worried, like, besides system-wide, like offering that to other branches. Yeah, it's nice to clear the junk, and I think the hardware idea is good because I have been to Habitat Humanity recently,
Yeah.
and the prices are getting staggeringly high for junk that someone donated. So I'm just
Well,
like,
And sometimes like you only have a few tiles, right? Like
Yeah.
if you bring that to Habitat for Humanity, like here they already have enough of like it just would look silly versus what you really want is just to give it away and have it go to a good use. So like bringing those, that small amount of organized nails in,
Yeah.
that's where I think the public library, that's a need that's not being served. That we can hopefully, I'll let you know how it goes after this month, team. But I was surprised we didn't get junk from the art swap. We haven't gotten junk. Or the junk, maybe we did, but it went because someone else thought it
Someone
wasn't
else,
junk.
one man's drunk is it's
It's
treasure.
amazing. It's amazing how that worked. So yeah, it's a system that I cannot say enough good things about for swapping. It's people love free stuff and they love getting rid of their stuff that they don't want. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, swap would be the prerogative on that.
Yeah.
Very cool. No, I don't know if you got that. If you did, that's impressive. But now I kind of want to do that because I do. We've had giveaways recently of our craft supplies because we just didn't know what to do with them. And
Yeah, well, and I think it works so well with your repair cafe, which again, this is all kind of a wonderful like marination chamber that we have here. They're like, oh wait, I'm gonna do that, but slightly differently. Um, yeah, yours has really inspired me to do a few other things that I wasn't. I first got the idea of hanging tools from you and that chain link fence. I was like, that's brilliant. We should be doing that, folks. If you don't hang tools, let me tell you, it saves so much space. You don't have to have the chain link, but even just having the what's the board with the holes in it? Pegboard.
pegboard.
Pegboard with hooks. Brilliant. It really saves so much space. Oh, Repair Revolution. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Rachel, is that how you got started or did you get,
I think it was already a repair cafe, but
yeah.
wasn't inactive
Yeah.
because of COVID. And the book came out, and I was part of. I mean, back in 2020, the repair cafe, like I got to meet Elizabeth Knight,
Yeah.
who co-wrote that book, through like a Zoom meeting
Yeah.
of the like direct. What were they calling the leaders or the something of the repair cafes? So I got to meet repair cafes from all over,
Yeah.
and get their advice and steal from them. It was great.
Yeah, from Europe, I was gonna say Repair Cafe just huge over there. And I think it's kind of changed in certain parts of the US as other people take it on. Like
I think it
some
is,
people
yeah.
do have, some people have food, other people don't. Other people have, appointments taken, beforehand, other people don't. So it's a little different. But it's great because I think if nothing else, we've all learned we need different models for different
Yeah.
locations and different reasons.
Fix-it clinics on the West Coast. They
Yes.
say, hey, everything's here and you can do what you need to, but we're not going to do it for you. That's like their big
Yeah.
thing is like motivation and do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, look, hey, I know you still have to get on shift. So really, really appreciate you taking the time to come chat with us and geek out about tools. I mean, I know that's your world, but I don't get to hang out with you that much. So
Oh yeah,
still really appreciate
couple of
the
100,000 miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Since we don't get to hang out in person, we get to do this online a little bit, and you're going to help out a lot of people. So, Rachel, thank you so very much for speaking, and already have a couple of thank yous in the group chat. And I'm sorry it was a little bit of a smaller crew this time, but active crew, and it sounds like some folks are really looking forward to watching you. I actually had two people pop up saying, "Say I'm sorry to Rachel. I would be there, but I'm on desk stuck here." So
It's no problem. The
anyway,
recordings, turn the comments on.
yeah, so there you
And
go.
please reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always trying to grow. There's always potential here. And I can see the influence of tool libraries on libraries across. And slowly, each library outside my system is starting to grow more libraries of things. So, uh, there's just going to be more of us and more ways of doing things. So, all right.
Yeah. And making the impact that matters, which is what I think you do so well.
Yeah,
So
time for libraries to rise because we're already doing so many things, And as we
Yeah.
all felt this week, it's definitely today's Mondaying very hardcore. So,
Oh man, Rachel, always a delight. Thank you so much. And hey, you got a team of like-minded humans on
all
your
right.
side. Take care. Thank you
Bye.
all very much for being here. Love having you. Bye-bye.